we tend to think of countries, the world divided into the countries that we know today. But many of the countries that we know, the United States is only 250 years old. Italy is 200 years old. Germany, as we know it, is only 200 years old. The nation state, as we know it, is a relatively recent model. And it's been built around tax systems, built around a physical economy, where goods are produced in place A and they're sold in place B. Man lives in place A and he works in place B. And the tax systems have been designed around this physical economy that has been easy to tax and regulate and control. But the reality is, since the 1990s, all the economic growth has been in the digital economy. The physical economy has grown by 3-4% per year. There's been growth, but the incredible growth has been in tech, whether it's Google or Facebook or Apple or Amazon or Bitcoin, whatever it is, Netflix. And because of the scalability of digital technology, I can upload a thing to the App Store and it can be downloaded 1 million times or 1 billion times. It's so Google can just put one widget in its search engine, upload it, and 1 billion people have the use of that widget. Whereas, let's say I invent a brilliant hairbrush, I've still got to manufacture and design and ship out 1 million of these. It's much harder. The physical economy is much harder than the digital economy. And because the digital economy has grown so rapidly, one of the reasons it's grown so rapidly is that it's unregulated, because the regulation is behind the invention. But the other reason it's grown so quickly is because it attracts investment, because you get a much quicker return on your investment, and that speeds up growth.
Right.
And then you look at the digital behemoths, Google, behemoths, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, whoever they are, they've all made tax authorities around the world look like fools. They've completely outwitted them, and they've shown their tax systems to be how outdated they are. Apple, they go, oh, my IP's in this country, my trademark's in this country, my profit's in this country, and they don't pay anything like the same level of taxes that the people in the physical economy do. And the value now, if you took Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon, or Apple, whatever 4 or 5 you want to pick, there's only 2 countries in the world that have a GDP bigger than the combined market cap of those companies, and that's the USA and China. Those companies are now more powerful than nation states. And if those companies' market cap doubled over the next year or 2 years, which is quite possible, they will have a combined market cap of bigger than the GDP of USA and America. It's no longer about what the free speech rules in America are or what the free speech rules in Europe are. The free speech rules are what Twitter says they are. And if you're using the Twitter platform. So the law is no longer set by the country, it's set by the platform which you're using. When we start having driverless cars, which I think are fairly inevitable, you won't be able to speed, because the speed limit will be programmed into the car. And if the police car pulls you over, you won't be able to drive off, because the code will be programmed to stop for the police car. You won't be able to go on the tube and skip fares, because there'll be a chip in your hand that deducts the fare instantly. The platform is going to be the new ruler, not the country. And in the meantime, the fastest growing workforce in the world is the digital nomad. I think already Ernst & Young have predicted that by 2030, half of the US workforce will be contingent. Remote working has been made normal, and contingent workers very quickly, they go, actually, do you know what? I don't need to live in New York anymore. I can go and do my job in Florida, and real estate in Florida is half the price that it is in thing. I can have a much nicer house, and I can do the same job, and I don't have to pay much lower levels of taxes. And people are doing just that. What's happened with Texas and Florida, the exodus to those countries, it's happening in England. Everyone's moving to Malta and Greece and Portugal. And and then suddenly, when they live in these different jurisdictions, they don't have to pay taxes anymore. And they work in the digital economy, and they use crypto money. And so who do they pay taxes to when they're not resident in any single country for more than half of the year? And so nation states, as we now know them, are going to disappear because they cannot fund their spending from existing tax revenue. The way they've been covering the deficit is with debt, and inflation, and they're going to inflate their currencies. And when the tax base disappears and the currency disappears, so does the nation state.